Hi, my name is George Asamani, or Asmini if you're Ghanaian, and I'm co-founder of a music tech startup called DooWapp.
I'll just put it out there, man. You have to be by far one of the most quality contacts I've made out here, man.
Well, I don't know about that. Hopefully we benefit one another. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just only say that because just of the quality of the discourse we have, the conversation we have. Also, you talked me through the work you're doing with your startup, your understanding of the African continent because of, how well-traveled you are. You understand West Africa well because you're from here, but you've spent a lot of time in Southern Africa as well. Fill our listeners in as far as your hustle thus far. I'm not calling it a hustle. I'm calling it a hustle just really out of as a term of endearment. But really, you operate. So, where you at, bro?
I guess maybe I'll just quickly say it in two parts. The growing up and the now. The growing up, originally from Ghana, like we mentioned, but I grew up in Botswana actually, and I'm 39 years old. So in the time of growing up, Botswana is a very different place from Ghana. So going on holidays to Ghana, you could just distinctly see the difference in the environments, the difference in culture, the difference in people. So you just, as a kid, innately had to learn how to adapt because your environments are different and you had to live comfortably in both. So I guess that adapting just fed into the now, as an entrepreneur, coming up with new ideas, finding things that fit into different cultures and different people, different markets. And now is just, a natural way of life, thinking new things, adapting to situations or adapting products. So, for instance, with DooWapp, which we're running right now, we haven't said what it is, but essentially we're adapting the existing version of the product to the latest version of the product. I'm not sure that's what the question was, but,
No, for sure, no. And we're getting to that, because I like to sort of create a context for everything else. We don't always have a chance to do that because on the show because of how little time I often have with people and that kind of thing. But I'm not one to be swept off my feet very easily when I look at apps or I'm particularly excited about yours just because of the level of execution, or at least the care with which you're approaching the current iteration and all the things that I see you building into what's going to come next. It's a really exciting product, and I hope it does well. I know there's no guarantee, of course.
No guarantee at all. I mean, especially in the tech startup space, nothing is guaranteed. I think the key thing is to listen and adapt, as I mentioned. It's all about iterations. You put a product out there, listen carefully to the market. Hopefully you have the cash or the resources to respond to the market and then do it all over again, hopefully bigger and better.
So with all that said, which is beautifully said, tell us a little bit about DooWapp, what you guys are trying to achieve here, and how you've gotten there. The team you assembled to get it to where it's at right now, and everything you're doing to iterate it to the product it needs to be.
Sure. First of all, what is DooWapp? DooWapp is it's a technology the music technology that allows you to use any words from any song in your messages, just like you use emojis, right? So, for instance, you're in WhatsApp, you want to, express your message as a smile, so you find the smiley face and you post it and you send it. If you think about it, you can actually do that right now with music.
So it's almost like someone's birthday and you could go, happy birthday.
Exactly. So we allow you to do that. And the difference is, to be honest, right now you can kind of do that if you go to YouTube, search for the song in YouTube, find the link, then come back to WhatsApp and post it in there. But
but also you've got the whole song. You'd need to rip it, like crop it, all that. Exactly. And of course you're stealing content that doesn't belong to you.
Exactly. Took the words right out of my mouth. So it's a bit of a long process. So we basically allow you to find just the specific word you want to say. So for example, I'm sending you a message and I can just say, hello, Lionel Richie, full stop, right? Just hello, not the whole song.
Wait, firstly, it's crazy how Lionel Richie gets to own hello.
Well, yeah, no, exactly. Well, he was I'm going to say ahead of his time, but he just did it early, right? So
come on, though. No, but the dude killed it because, you just go hello and you know what you're talking about.
No, exactly.
No, sorry, that's such a random sidebar. But anyway, so yeah. So it's almost in a way what GIFs are kind of being used to do. Look, emojis do it well, but I think GIFs take that to another level where there's the opportunity to infuse like a certain amount of wit and hopefully sarcasm, humor in a way that's visual and engaging.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, on the business side of it, there's like 50 billion messages sent a day, 50 billion. Half of those contain content, right? That just goes to show that, there's actually a lot of content consumption going on. And by content, I mean memes, GIFs, emojis, this sort of thing. We just love to express ourselves. It's just natural. It's human to us. Now we have the ability to do it more and more with tech. Yeah.
And so, look, I know you're based in Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. I mean, school some of those people who might not think of certain parts of Africa as not being tech hubs or innovation or hotbeds of innovation. You get around a lot. So we're in Accra right now, but I know that Addis is pumping the art community there, like amazing comic book artists. I know like the tech community is also becoming a thing out there. Give us a sense of your experience of the various places you gotten to live on the continent and what they've added to your flavor as a tech entrepreneur.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I mean, Addis is on the come up. I mean, it's definitely on the rise. You see, there's a buzz, especially amongst it's sort of like. I'm 39, so I can say the younger guys. Whether you're talking about tech, whether you're talking about art, but actually something that's not limited to the younger guys is the Ethio jazz scene. I mean, it's what it says on the tin, Ethio jazz. One of the world's greatest jazz musicians. He's one of the world's greatest because he's come up with a new genre of jazz, Ethio jazz. So it's a small community, but it's on the come up. There's a lot, there's a lot of buzz. And
what's his name?
Molato Astatke.
All right, I'm gonna check that. I'm gonna check him out.
No, check him out. So I guess from Addis, you said your question was give a sense of the feel in different places. For me, the feel in Addis is is growth. There's a buzz. Something's happening. And that's a great thing. The thing that living in Botswana gave me is really exposure to the world. Because Botswana is one of those places where, growing up as a kid in the 80s, it was very, very international. Like, your friends were from everywhere. People were quite exposed. So, very young, I was just aware of the rest of the world, comfortable in my own skin. I wasn't trying to be like a, cool guy from, I don't know, New York. I was just myself, Ghanaian guy living in Botswana. So I think living there, helped me to be comfortable with the rest of the world and comfortable in my own skin. And then, Ghana is just like its home culture. Anyone who knows any Ghanaians will know that they're very friendly people, calm people, very respectful. So I guess that's shaped my character. And then, London and a few other places just gave me life experience. So yeah, that's
cool. I like that. And I feel like these are the things that don't get articulated enough. People who listen to the show often use it as a window to the rest of, the scene on the continent. And often it's down to like numbers in the case of how many companies have landed investment or who's been acquired by whom, or what's working well, what's not. Yeah. The people, I think, are what drive everything. And so this is my sort of random way of working towards motivation for this particular idea. Right. In terms of DooWapp. Like, I mean, you made a short case for why this is a huge opportunity, and as far as like content and how often we're texting and everything. Yeah. But what drew you to creating an app that did this? Sure. I mean, there's tons you could have done, I imagine.
That's absolutely. So we didn't do it because we saw the opportunity. We did it because actually it was my brother's idea. My brother is my business partner, and he's the creative in the family. It was his idea. He's got a music background. He was a hip hop artist in South Africa actually. Moved to London and then moved behind the scenes. So he worked with guys like Amy Winehouse, Tinchy Strider, super creative guys. My point was his idea because he was always talking in song lyrics. The rapper generally is he's all about words. And one day he was like, hold on a second, how come I can't send my lyrics with audio in my message? And we just got together. Funny enough, at that time we were working on a different idea, and he was like, "Guys, I've got this idea using music as emojis in my messages. Why can't we do that?" So we did it. That was the motivation. Yeah, the love of lyrics, really.
And so, what are you bringing to the table aside from bringing his brother? Let's not, because I do imagine it wasn't a nepotism thing over here, man. I'm sure. So, what was the idea in terms of let me partner with my brother to get this done, and then. how did you then assemble a team that actually made the MVP?
Yeah, so we were already a team. It's myself. I'm the business guy. So worked in investment banking, got an MBA from London Business School. So I was a business guy. My brother's creative, and then my third co-founder is actually my cousin. So it is actually quite a family business.
Keep it into the family. Yeah, it had to be with Ghanaians involved.
I know, right? So he's a tech guy. Yeah, he's our CTO. He's got a first class in maths and computer science from UCL. That guy's a tech genius. So between the three of us, we were already working on a tech product before. But when Yao, who's my brother, when he came up with an idea for the music emojis, we just moved into that because it was a no-brainer. It just makes sense. How do we move on from there? Well, the first thing we did was we looked at, okay, obviously we're dealing with music, so there's we have to consider music rights, because we could have bootlegged the content, but we didn't want to do that. We respect music, we respect ownership, so
also Napster, right?
No, exactly. The case in point, right? So we just looked at how so we approached Sony, Warner, Universal. They loved the idea. Long story short, we have licensing from Sony ATV, biggest publisher in the world, as well as Universal Publishing as well, which is pretty much amazing, right? In addition to sorting out the rights to use the music, we also looked at how can we protect the idea, because super basic idea. So we got in touch with some lawyers that actually specialize in technology and understand music, and now we're patent pending. We're patent pending on the ability to chop up a piece of music and send it within the context of messaging. So we did all that actually before building the product, because there's no point spending time and money on building the product when when we hadn't done this research and due diligence.
Also to find out SoundCloud owns the patent to the idea or something.
Exactly. So once we'd done that, then we started looking at the tech. So that's where George, same name, my cousin's name is also George, he's a CTO. That's when he actually started knocking together prototypes and just looking at how this thing would work. And then since then it's just been iterations of the product.
And so you alluded to it earlier, like your approach to iteration, right? A mistake that startup founders, present company included, constantly make is becoming a little too close to whatever idea you sort of sold yourself early on, and not being willing to admit that perhaps the data you're getting about people's enthusiasm for the idea, or just how well things are working in general, might mean you need to pivot or drop things altogether. What's your approach as a team in terms of determining which direction to take, which direction to iterate into?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've made similar mistakes. Obviously, not to the extent that we didn't do any iterations, but there was probably one version of the product where we stayed there for a pretty long time because we were looking for perfection. So I think the key thing, the thing that we do now is, at the same time as working on the current version, we're doing as much planning and work on the next version as possible. And also, I think the thing that allows you to do that is resources. If you don't have the resource, whether either the time or the skill to work on the next version, you're going to be stuck on the current version for a long time. So point is, whilst we're working on the current version, we're ready, or we're preparing both the resources and the skill for the next version, because the next version is going to come. There's no point not expecting it or not working towards it.
I imagine that includes thinking about how we're going to sustain this, sourcing seed investment, plotting your pre-seed, seed, Series A, maybe even. Are you thinking that far?
Yeah, absolutely. Also getting feedback from users as well. But in terms of funding, absolutely.
How have you done it so far? Is it all your own monies? I imagine you guys are doing sufficiently okay as pros, given your pedigree and all that. But I mean, how are you keeping the lights on? Feeding your babies and making a product that's actually on its way to being a good thing.
No, absolutely. So we started off with our own cash. And this was in the days of the prototype and the licensing and all that stuff. Then we got to a point where it's friends and family, and we've also been through 2 accelerators actually. One of them is also the best accelerator in Europe. It's called Wayra.
Seriously, you and Wayra?
Yeah. We the 2015 cohort.
That's awesome. So tell the people, I don't know who owns them, but I know of them. But for people who are not familiar with Wayra, tell them why it's so dope.
Yeah, no, Wayra is really good actually. So Wayra is owned by Telefónica, and it's essentially Wayra is the innovation department, so to speak, of Telefónica, and it's an accelerator. They look for the biggest and baddest startups across UK and Europe, and you
it's not token, right? It's this one is like it's real deal.
It's real deal. It's not like a 2-week program or something. It's like 8 months, 8 to 10 months. I think it's 8 months if I remember correctly. But yeah, I mean, the benefit is first of all, you get a bit of funding. It's not a lot of funding, but really that's not the most important thing. It's the other startups that you're working with, because the people that get through Wayra are like serious, real deal startups. So it's good. It's good company. You learn a lot from the other people. The other benefit of being through a program like Wayra is like the support and the network. Like I would walk up the stairs in the morning, and coming through the doors was, I don't know, like the head of Spotify, or it's just the network that walks through the doors on a daily basis is actually very, very beneficial. Because to be honest, you can ask yourself the question, or many people do I really need an accelerator? But when an accelerator has a presence and has an impact, you want to be a part of it. It's the famous saying, right? Is it rising or running or standing on the shoulders of giants? Rather, it's sort of like along those lines. So it's a pretty good experience. The second accelerator we went through was one called European Pioneers, which I realize a lot of people haven't heard about. But essentially, it's a program set up by the European Union that looks at the top 2% of startups across Europe, and we're fortunate enough to be able to be part of that program. The funding we get from there is really good. Also, the network, etc., is really good. So, anyway, to answer your question, where does our funding come from? First of all, it was our own cash. Then it's friends and family, and 2 accelerators. And as soon as we have the next version of our product released, we're actually going to go back on the market and do our seed round.
All right. There's a lot of criticism of the sort of accelerator / incubator / co-working space / hub ecosystem on the continent, because in some respects, it isn't the real deal in as far as like serious startups or offering serious startups what they actually need to get ahead. It's dripping with PR and it's usually like CSI money, like a big company's thrown at it. And I mean, some of them are really, really good, and some of them also have a place in sort of just bringing everyone up to speed in terms of like knowing what you need to have in order to be a startup founder. But I mean, for the serious guys like you, if I feel like guys are going to Europe or the States or Tel Aviv or places like that to get what they really, really need. Like, how do we get this right on the continent?
You know what? So, put my hand up. I can't say I know every accelerator or incubator on the continent, but what I do know is that even in Europe, it's a journey for the accelerators. I remember 5 years ago when you looked at the accelerator scene in London, it looked like a bunch of companies who were trying to do something cool, and it was like I don't know what these guys are doing. Fast forward to 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, you actually see that these guys have been through a journey where they've had startups pass through their doors. They've got the feedback from entrepreneurs that tell them that they've added value or they haven't had added value. They've heard through PR and through the press that this particular place is just a PR PR box or whatever. So point I'm trying to make is in time we will see which incubators and accelerators are adding value and which ones are quote unquote token. I think that's as far as I can see at the moment. Yeah.
And no, that's quite a fair assessment of it. And I mean, my thinking about it is also rightened by something that someone said at the recent African Tech Roundup Live event we hosted, and someone just gave me a sense of, listen, Andile, there are various gaps within our ecosystem, and granted, what's out there might not be right for some of the more serious like operators and stuff like that, and who have to go out to go find serious love, but there's a host there's a generation of people who haven't had an Ivy League education or exposure to foreign markets, heck, been in the same room with a serious startup, founder, co-founder, or even interacted with an investor. And for those people, there's still a lot of value to be had in quote unquote incubator light situations.
Yeah, absolutely. No, definitely. I think there's something for everybody. If I could use that expression. Yeah, I wouldn't knock them. Yeah.
Fair enough. And so I'm sitting in the movie where I'm interviewing you after your successful Series A. Right. You've got like knocked the valuation out of the park. Right. I'm thinking someone like SoundCloud. Hopefully by that point they've gotten their act together and figured out how they themselves make money. But because I really dig them as a company, and I was talking to you earlier, and he didn't say this, by the way. So SoundCloud, he's not like hinting. I said this. I said to you earlier on our way here. I feel like SoundCloud would be a perfect addition. Okay, so you've got like Sony and those guys on the sort of license side of music. SoundCloud, I feel like is feeling the people in as far as unsigned artists and all this sort of underground talent that emerges through the platform. I think you'd be a perfect acquisition target for them, or at very least, an investment target. Sure. I'm sitting in that movie, bruh. Right. So what has SoundCloud just bought? Well, like in terms of like, what is this product looking like? What does it feel like? Yeah. Why are they so excited about it?
Well, SoundCloud has just bought a verb.
A verb.
If I could put it that way, something that you use in your daily communication, your daily language, emojis. It's hopefully what we want, what we will be, or what we are, is a natural expression in your day-to-day life. Since the beginning of mankind, we've been expressing ourselves with words because that's all we had. Now we have DooWapp.
I like it. Like if this mic wasn't expensive, I'd drop it. Yeah, no, he did it. He did the thing. Unfortunately, I'll tell him to drop the mic. Also, he wasn't holding it, so he lost the right.
Exactly. Well, next time.
All right, so no, I really dig it. I like how the story is coming together. Again, we can't guarantee everything. Yeah. I do admire the systematic approach. So many things that are coming up as themes whenever we discuss startups and what challenges them on the continent. Assembling great teams, which is such a hard thing to do. Testing an idea with rigor before you like throw 5 years of your life at it, and then also having the courage to make the changes necessary to grow it into something proper, and then tidying yourself up and putting yourself up for the awesome opportunity of bringing on serious investment to take you to the world. Yeah. That's a magical business cycle that I'm beginning to to get a taste for in terms of like truly loving it, as opposed to just covering it, like really thinking, and acknowledging when I see people getting it right. It's really dope to see, and I mean that in the truest sense. Everything I've just heard from you gives me hope that it can happen, and when it happens, it's a beautiful thing, man. Yeah.
Well, no, all I can say is thank God. Just work, just think, work, think more, work more. Just keep doing it. Yeah. So thank you for those words.
And all the offers that are going to come to your CTO, your brother. So George, who's your brother again?
My brother's Yao.
So Yao.
Yeah.
So Yao and George and you, George, not the second, George, the second George. They got the job offers that are coming your way. You guys ignore them and get this thing done, guys.
Right, absolutely. We're on it. God willing.
All right, man. This is the African Tech Roundup. Thank you so much, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you very, very much, friend. Thank you.